Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Israel Wake Up. It's our Women Advanced Bible Study night. It's Sunday, the 29th of September, 2024. Okay. The title inside the room is Jacob wrestled with an angel. We didn't talked about that, but I wanted to add some more stuff to that. Okay. You can go to our YouTube channel to Israel Wake Up. Uh, Check out our videos on our sister line. It's our hours of operation are Thursday nights from 7 to 9 Central Time, and then we come back on Sundays, and we have a Bible study class on Sundays at 5. Normally it lasts about an hour or so. So that's our two lives. Okay. Um, for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts. So, shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Women Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, Psalms, then we have some current events. Then we'll deal with some need to know information, and we'll open it up for anybody having any questions, comments, or any dialogue. And then we go into our topic, which is Jacob wrestles with an angel. Okay. So with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and Yahweh, our Redeemer, and all that they're doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore, we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that you may walk before thee as thy servants David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, to keep your commandments and your testimony and your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of this covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people, and hear our plea. Hear, O Lord, and do, and hide not thy face from us any longer, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, you want to do a Psalms, or you want me to do it? Or?
I'm going to read one of my favorite songs. It's Psalms 37.
Okay.
Uh, Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth the righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait unto the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet for a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, and garnish unto him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, and to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. The sword shall enter in thy own heart, and thy bow shall be broken. A little that a righteous man haveth is better than the riches of many wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, and the Lord upholdeth the righteous. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and the inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume into smoke, shall they consume away. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous shall showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they shall be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he should not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteousness forsaken, nor nor seeth his seed begging bread. He is very merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil and do good, and dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteousness speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteousness and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passes away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressor shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off, but the salvation of the righteous is out of the Lord. He is thy strength in the time of trouble, and the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trusted in him. That's Psalms 37.
Right. So yeah, you see over and over through the psalm, he continues to tell you to wait on him, to have patience, and wait on him. So the verse I want to shine light on though is, a lot of people don't really see the magnitude of it, but it says, verse 15, uh, that sword, the enemy, right? We started
Mhm.
14. The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as their upright conversation. Then 15, their sword shall enter into their own heart and say, and their bows shall be broken. So back then, the enemy had bows and arrows and stuff like that, but today they got nukes. So it's no different. Just like he broke their bow, he gonna shut down these nukes and all that they got today. It don't matter what kind of weapons they got. He's telling you to be patient. And whatever they got, he's gonna shut it down. You gotta understand that. Okay.
Yep.
You got any comments on that?
No, I just think, it's just interesting how this stuff was written so long ago, but still very relevant to today. And I mean, I can't remember if it's a Bible verse or just a saying, where people say, no weapons formed against him shall prosper. I don't know if that's a Bible verse or that's just something somebody, people have said, I've heard. But what you just said reminds me of that. No
Right.
matter what they come up with, and then there's nothing new under the sun either. But
Right.
there's nothing that they can do. I mean, God made man. Man can never outsmart or outthink God. So,
Right. Exactly. Right. That's in scripture. You just gotta walk it down, find out where it's at. Yeah. So we're gonna go to some current events. Camera waiting on this computer. It's kind of acting up a little bit, but in a minute. So how the weather is over there?
It is nice and overcast. I spoke to my stepfather this a little while ago. He said it's raining down there. So on top of the fact that they're still in darkness in terms of the power, it's starting to rain again. So, but they all hanging in there. They're in good spirits.
Right, that's a good thing.
Yeah, Atlanta. I'm hearing a lot of the city part got messed up. A lot of neighborhoods and stuff was flooded out. But out here where I am, in Stone Mountain, I didn't experience that. But people around me did. But I not in the general area where I am. We didn't get no power out or anything. It flickered, but that was it.
Okay,
Gold-backed currency
okay,
dethrone the dollar and plunge the West into financial chaos? This is what happens when a currency backed by 40% gold and 60% local currencies meets dollars backed by nothing. It has the potential to cause the US dollar to fall dramatically overnight. So, is this the start of the end for the dollar? Are we witnessing its demise in real time? Will the U.S. economy survive if the BRICS nations stop using the dollar, or will it collapse? Let us find out. The BRICS alliance's financial power play against the West is reaching unprecedented heights. With BRICS ready to establish a game-changing currency backed by 40% gold and 60% local currencies, the global financial system could be on the cusp of a seismic revolution. This currency will not only fight the US dollar, but also have the potential to destabilize it. BRICS is not only prepared for a financial shakeup, they are about to change the rules. But can the West prevent it? Or are we seeing the creeping downfall of the dollar's worldwide dominance? For millennia, gold has served as the global standard for prosperity and stability. So when the BRICS chose to back 40% of their new currency with gold, they were not simply making a financial statement. They were declaring war on the US dollar. In today's market, a gold-backed currency serves more than merely as a guarantee of value. It is a symbol of security that the fiat-based currency cannot replicate. Since 2022, BRICS has been secretly accumulating gold reserves. While the West has continued to manufacture money, weakening the dollar with each new bill, BRICS has purchased tons of gold. Why? Because they understand that in times of economic instability, gold speaks louder than words. A currency backed by 40% gold will quickly acquire the trust of global markets, whereas the dollar, backed only by faith, will continue to fall. Gold has traditionally played an important role in international finance. From ancient civilizations to current governments, gold has served as the foundation for riches and economic security. By linking their currencies to gold, BRICS is betting on this ageless symbol of value. This is a substantial difference from the dollar, which is based on a flexible exchange rate and faith in the United States government. When inflation rises and economies fall, gold retains its value, as BRICS understands. The West may dismiss the concept of returning to a gold standard, but they are missing the larger picture. Inflation is undermining the dollar's worth as the US prints money to pay off debts and invigorate a stagnant economy. A gold-backed BRICS currency will serve as a counterweight to this instability, enticing governments and investors weary of the dollar's volatility. While 40% of the BRICS currency would be backed by gold, the other 60% would be tied to local currencies inside the alliance, such as the Chinese yuan, Russian ruble, and Indian rupee. This is when BRICS executes a masterstroke. They are not only building a more stable, gold-backed currency, but they are also lifting their member states' local currencies to the level of international authority. But why should this matter? Please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel to see more videos about global geopolitics, the economy, and the changing landscape. Let us proceed now. Because it calls into question the dollar's supremacy in international trade, the West has relied on the US dollar as the world's reserve currency for decades, allowing it to dictate global trade terms. However, BRICS is providing a new alternative, one in which local currencies play a significant role. This is not just economic warfare, it is a geopolitical upheaval. The US dollar, long the world's most trusted currency, has become a shell of its former self. In 2024, it retains only 3% of its previous purchase power. Hyperinflation is imminent, and the dollar is losing its value. While Americans see costs skyrocket, the BRICS are strategically waiting for the dollar to sink. Experts have been sounding the alarm, predicting that the dollar's purchasing power will collapse completely by 2025. Financial experts have been mourning for years, but the US government has responded by printing more money, sending inflation higher. BRICS, on the other hand, is bracing for the fallout. How will this situation affect the United States?
Okay, any comments on that?
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend to understand all of the ins and outs of it, but there's definitely a storm coming with the number of different things coming on. We're hearing hints of about the ports are going to be striking. That's going to tie up stuff, imports and exports. You know, I think they just dropped the rate, the interest rates.
Right.
Um, but I mean, I don't. It's just hard to know what's really going on because inside the United States, it's like we're in a bubble, and they're keeping everybody in America kind of unaware of what's going on the national level as it
Right.
comes to this brick stuff. But I mean, it just seems like a perfect storm is coming, and 2025. I hadn't heard that. That's my first time hearing that they feel like it's going to collapse as early as next year. So that's something new.
Yeah, look at what's happening Tuesday. They're gonna the whole East Coast the longshoremen shut down. They're gonna boycott.
Yeah,
So that's
that's what I heard.
well, yeah. And then you just had that storm came through. It did a lot of damage.
Yeah, and you
So
got another one on its way.
right, exactly. Like he's setting up for a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So check this out.
Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso came into Africa's political scene, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have become a huge problem for the West. And, unfortunately for the West, these countries will continue to be a problem because the leaders of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have chosen the path of sovereignty and independence. Now, recently, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso signed a satellite deal with Russia, which will be beneficial to them in terms of security. But guess what? This simple deal has made the West angry for some reason and has used its media to express its concerns. The question is, why is the satellite deal important to the three Sahel countries, and why is it causing so much concern for the West? Let's find out. So as we said, the leaders of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have become a huge problem for the West. This is because their arrival not only completely changed the order of how things used to work between Africa and the West, but more importantly, it brought in the greatest enemy of the West, Russia, into the scene. You see, as far as the West is concerned, the greatest crime any country can commit is not genocide, corruption, not practicing democracy, or human rights abuse. No, the greatest crime any country can commit is aligning with Russia or any other country that the West doesn't like. Think about it. Gabon and Chad experienced coups just like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, and they are currently led by military leaders. But Western media only talks about Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger simply because the military leaders ditched the West in favor of Russia, while Chad and Gabon still have a good relationship with the West. Every action or decision they make is heavily scrutinized and criticized, and it is simply because they chose to ally with Russia. You see, the media has painted the narrative that just because these three countries chose to ally with Russia, Russia is influencing them in several decisions, as if the leaders of these countries do not have a mind of their own. How paternalistic of the West, but more on that later. The point we want to make is that despite this narrative painted about Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, the leaders of these countries have not backed down, cowered, or given in to the demands of the West. They have remained resolute in their decision to forge relations with non-Western countries, including Russia. This is why recently, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso signed a deal with Russia to acquire telecommunications and surveillance satellites. This was concluded earlier this week when ministers from Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso met with Russia's aerospace agency, Roscosmos, in the capital of Mali, Bamako. According to Mali's finance minister, Aluseni Sanu, the acquisition of the satellite technology would not only boost border and national security, but also secure military communications and improve disaster monitoring and response among the Sahel countries.
So, like I said before, which so many people don't know nothing about, but all this happening in so-called Negro land. You know, it's right the same place where they came and got us from. It's happening in the same place. It's part of scripture. Like he said, when you see us, when you see them rising, when you understand who the real Israelites are, once you see them start rising, knowing that the time is near, and we're looking at that. And not only that, we talked about last night how that the Sahara Desert is turning green. Anybody, you know anything about that?
No, I hadn't heard that. But I did hear that it's snowing in Egypt. Did you
Right,
see?
yeah,
Yeah.
right, and it's been abnormal. They normally
What?
have some rain in the Sahara Desert, and
Right.
then they have little green spots here and there, but the whole thing is turning green.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
super neat, right? And not only that, that's the same region.
Yeah.
That's the same region that's over in Negro land. So, and I was reading that. Matter of fact, let me read it again. Put it in the record book. It's in Isaiah 31. It speaks about that. Let me read it.
Isaiah 31.
I mean, Isaiah 35, verse 1. My bad. 35, verse 1. Okay. I'm going to read that whole chapter because it's talking about this very event. It says, the wilderness and the solitary places shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as a rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice, even with joy and singing, and the glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, and excellency of Carmel Sharon, and they shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not, and behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense, and he will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. And then shall the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall the waters break out, and the streams in the desert, and the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. In the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and with rushes, and a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness, and the unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there, and the ransom of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with songs, everlasting joy upon their heads. And they shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. Ain't that something? We looking
Yeah.
right at it. We looking right at it. So we starting to everything's starting to close in. We starting to see now. It's got to be Jerusalem, the land of Israel, got to be somewhere in that region.
Mm.
Got Yeah, because we start. That's where everything happening there now. All of a sudden, like I said, um, look how many things that happened in with this guy Tory just this week. He done signed a major port deal. He done he got he's gonna get signed up with the BRICS. That's unheard of. And then
Now,
he
who
got
is this? Who is this?
Tory, the guy over there in Burkina Faso.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Then he finna get nuclear. He finna get
A
nuclear
nuclear
power.
power plant. Hmm.
All this in this week. So that ain't somebody rising. I don't know what rising is,
Right.
especially in
And
Africa.
yeah, I heard that China was also, even though it's not a lot of money, but they supposedly gave them $1 million to start for hospital equipment too, help them build their own hospital. When the United States was like, we'll help you build some clinics, but they need a full-fledged hospital. So China donated, I think, $1 million for of hospital equipment, which it's not a lot of
Right,
money, but it's still something.
right. Yeah, I saw before I got on this line earlier this morning was the uh, Burkina Faso people uh, came up with $220 million to give to him to do what he had to do with the country. And
Mm.
that's all.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you got any comments on that? Good.
No, I think it's good, but I wanted to ask you too. Did you hear about Blanken? I think that is the Secretary of State. There was some kind of blackout in Africa where they're cutting off their social media sites or something like that, where not necessarily within the continent, but for the West won't be able to access. Did you hear anything about that? I
Yeah,
was trying
yeah,
to.
yeah. I heard some. I think what it is, or I was getting ready to say something about that, but I think it's tied to the fact that see what they don't want. They're trying to find. It's been I don't know if anybody keeping count, but it's been 17 attempts on that dude Tory
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get to him.
yeah.
What they're trying to do, they're trying to get to him. They're trying to find every the normal way they used to do it. It ain't happening no more because you got Russia involved. So I think that's what it's got to do with.
Yeah, it's a blackout for information because I know I have this type of I guess thing with my Fire Stick where I can get international channels. I can
Right.
get all the channels, but I can't get the African channels. I think one came online this week, African Joy, which is a news channel, but I can't. The other channels are just static.
Right.
That was interesting.
Right. And then they always had a problem over in Africa from for the people that I heard that been there and I talked to was that it's like certain times of the day they don't have no power.
Mm,
These goes and come, their power goes and come. And that's one of the things they starting to fix. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Right.
yeah.
They didn't have a whole, it's like over here, the satellite and everything that we have, that whole system set up. They have pockets of it. Okay.
Now,
Right.
I want to go back to that first video you played when you were talking about the about BRICS and the way in which their gold backs their currency. Now, in America, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, America was backed by gold. Its currency was backed by gold until I think it was um, the one that got kicked out of office for Watergate. I forgot his name.
Nixon.
Nixon took us off the gold standard. But what happened to all the gold?
Right. Well, yeah. Well, see, they said that they it's in Fort Knox, but uh, I keep hearing all the sources saying that it's not. It's no gold in
That's
Fort Knox.
right. That's what I heard too.
Right. And
So
so
go
yeah,
ahead.
they from what I understand, they got rid of it because it ain't, that's what China and BRICS is doing. They understand what they done. They thought that this thing with the dollar and what they had set up with the oil was gonna last forever, but it didn't.
Yeah.
They backdoored them when they got
Yeah.
up. Right.
That's
Making
gonna be
sure.
interesting to see if that's what's gonna happen with that. Because as far as I know, I don't think we have any gold mines here anymore. I think those resources have dried up. I mean, we had them in the 1800s, but I think they
Right.
done mined all that out. And we
Exactly.
didn't. We definitely didn't have as much as some of these other countries did. It's gonna be interesting to see if that's going to be something that floats us in the meantime, or what. But I just thought that that was interesting because that's only what 70. That's about 50 some years ago.
Right. Exactly. Right. So yeah, yeah, that'd be something to research out, find out. You know, exactly where America's goal is, or if they have any. Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up.
Okay. So we got some need to know information right here.
To the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a very, very interesting topic. On the screen there, you see a so-called white man, and you see some Native Americans. And I'm going to be talking about why the Native Americans said that white people had Wetico. Okay. Now, of course, we're talking about way back when, right? This is what they were saying way back when. And I actually learned this recently from a white man. I was looking at a documentary, as I mentioned in a previous video. And in this video, he was talking about how certain things that are taking place in the world right now are so mind blowing that, you know, it's unbelievable. And he was saying that the people who are responsible for it, now this is a white guy saying all of this, y'all, it's not me, right? It's a white guy saying all this. He was saying the people that are responsible were once were stated to have a disease called Wetico by the Native Americans. And so he went into great detail about why they said that they believed that white people at that time had a disease called Wetico. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to share with you some further information. And even the information I'm sharing you, the person who talked about this, they actually said they haven't even touched the surface of the depths of this disease called Wetico, although they did cover quite a bit, right? So if they haven't touched the surface, they're telling you that this thing is just deep seated and it is tripped out evil. So let me go ahead and share this, and I will definitely be back with some additional words on this topic of why the Native Americans stated or said that so-called white people have a disease called Wetico. Here we go. What happens to your skin when you soak in baking soda? Do you know what happens when you drink a teaspoon?
There is a contagious psychospiritual disease of the soul, a parasite of the mind, that is currently being acted out en masse on the world stage via a collective psychosis of titanic proportions. This mind virus, which Native Americans have called Wetico, covertly operates through the unconscious blind spots in the human psyche, rendering people oblivious to their own madness and compelling them to act against their own best interests. Here is more information on Wetico. Is there an epidemic of broken, undeveloped frontal lobes, of dysfunctional, maladjusted, deteriorating, and infected amygdalas? Narcissism and cluster B psychopathy run rampant in our culture, feeding on those who still have that innate ability to feel empathy and compassion, who possess a real soul and a kind spirit. Those dark and toxic parasitic Wetico entities are cannibalistic, predatory, soulless, selfish, and hostile, a cancer of the soul, a shapeshifter. How sad. Just as viruses or malware infect a computer and program it to self-destruct, Wetico programs the human biocomputer to think and behave in self-destructive ways. Covertly operating through the unconscious blind spots in the human psyche, Wetico renders people oblivious to their own madness, compelling them to act against their own best interests. People under its thrall can, like someone in the throes of an addiction or in a state of trauma, unwittingly create the very problem they are trying to resolve, clinging desperately to the thing that is torturing and destroying them. People taken over by Wetico are suffering from an autoimmune disease of the psyche. In autoimmune deficiency syndrome, the immune system of the organism perversely attacks the very life it is trying to protect. In trying to live, it destroys life, ultimately destroying even itself. In the same way, Once Wetico has insinuated itself into a living entity, it acts like a perverted antibody, treating the wholesome parts of the system as cancerous tumors to be exterminated. This problem is being collectively acted out on the world stage. Humans are destroying the biosphere of the planet upon which we all depend for our survival. Wetico is at the bottom of the seemingly never-ending destruction we are wreaking on this biosphere. One example is the destruction of the Amazonian rainforest, the lungs of the planet. Another example is the Terminator seeds that are genetically engineered not to reproduce a second generation, forcing farmers to buy new seeds and making life impossible for many poor farmers. If the planet were seen as an organism, and people seen as cells in this organism, it would be as if these cells had become cancerous or parasitic, and had turned on the healthy cells, destroying the very organism of which they themselves were a part. Our species appears to be enacting a mass ritual suicide on a global scale. Paul Levy dispelling Wetico, breaking the curse of evil Quest 102.4, full 2014 PG. 146 to 151. Also from Paul Levy. Wetico disease is an expression of the convincing illusion of the separate self gone wild. Bewitched by the intrinsic projective tendencies of their own mind, full-blown Weticos are unconsciously doing the very thing they are reacting to while simultaneously accusing other people of doing it. Projecting the shadow onto others, they will accuse others of projecting the shadow onto them. To use an extreme but prototypical example, it is like someone screaming that you're killing them as they kill you. If their insanity is reflected back to them, they think it is the mirror that is insane. Suffering from a form of psychic blindness that believes itself to be sightedness, full-blown Weticos project out their own unconscious blindness and imagine that others, instead of themselves, are the ones who are not seeing. Governed by...
Okay. You ever heard of Wetico?
Never heard of it.
Right. So that, like I was saying before, when you go back to scripture and read it the right way, in the very beginning, he said that uh, he cursed Cain, right? They want
Mm-hmm.
you to think it's some kind of tattoo on his forehead or something on his ear. On his ear, they put a plug in his ear or whatever. But it's to be turned white is what the name of it is. What it is. That's what curse means. And we see it all through the scriptures when he did it he showed Moses how to put his hand under his coat. The hand came out, it was turned white. When Miriam talked against Moses, he turned her white. That's what Wetico is. But they hid that from us on understanding. Then when he told the Israelites uh, about the Gentiles, he said, "Don't mingle with them. Don't mix your seed with them."
Right.
And so when you understand all that, you come back to this right here. Maybe he hid it from well, we don't get the understanding of it. But that's what it is. And that's what the Indians was talking about. I mean, you got to go back and think about it. Look at what would happen to when they came to Africa and brought all those people here, and the millions of ones they throw over the slave ship. Like
Mm-hmm.
they said, they have no remorse. They wired different. Who would do
Yeah.
that? See what I'm saying? And even
Mm-hmm.
though who would do that? The lynchings and all that. Come on, that's what
Somebody
that is.
without a soul. Yeah.
Right? They hid it. They hid it from us, and then it's unthinkable to even think like that. You can't think like that. Okay, but when you look at it with a clear mind, you looking dead at what the Indians say is true. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A. You got any questions or comments or anything you want to talk about or you came across you want to deal with?
No, it's like I said, it's just a lot going on right now. It's hard to really even focus in on one thing, and I feel like part of that reason is so that we don't focus on anything.
Right.
For the average person. I mean, like I said, on in the United States, we are oblivious to what's going on outside of the United States. I mean, we hear about this pockets, and then it's just very interesting. And at a certain period of time, I say around 2015, then the way that the truth is told and the believability, it just went away overnight
Exactly.
with one, seemingly with one man, but it was like a wildfire. Now you can't believe nothing. And it's like the truth. is intermingled with all of these lies, and trying to figure out what is real and what is not is hard to decipher. And
Right.
maybe just speak on a little bit on, how to stay encouraged with all of that going on, just trying to figure out and stay focused and not get distracted with all this stuff. If you can speak on that.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. Uh, Psalms 37. That's been my go-to song forever and a day. If you get to read Psalms 37 and you ain't motivated or you're not encouraged, then something ain't right. So that's what I always. I mean, that's why I read it so much. I go four or 5 weeks and then come back to it because of everything you need to do in these last days. Just tell you right there in Psalms 37.
Yeah, yeah. That's one reason why one of my favorites. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go back over the week and the review. We had on our evening Shabbat class yesterday. We was dealing with the book of Amos, right? And we were talking about how the Most High was talking to the Israelites through Amos before they went into the captivity in Babylon. Before the Babylonians came. So Amos was as Jeremiah was to the southern kingdom, Amos was to the northern kingdom. So you got to understand that. I want you to think that these men were separated by a long period of time, but they working together simultaneously. And then on the Sabbath morning, we was dealing with Mount Horeb, understanding that one of the main points was that Mount Horeb, that in Genesis chapter 3, where Moses met the Lord of hosts, is also Mount Sinai. Mount Horeb, Mount Sinai is the same place. And that's another one of those deceptions that they have. And then we was dealing with, for our Israelite class on Monday, Israelite Bible study, we were dealing with the Antichrist, how the Antioch Epiphanes is the Antichrist. And when you hear so many people today, you already know it's time to turn the channel, get up in front of the TV, or turn off the computer when you start hearing these clowns talking about the Antichrist coming. They so far off. You need to go on and find something else productive to do because it's obvious when they
Yeah.
started proclaiming all the things that he gonna do. Antiochus already done it.
Mhm.
It's one of the tricks they can put on us. Yeah. So and then we dealt with for the women's line we dealt with the wall that's in Isaiah. I mean in Daniel chapter 30. Let me see Daniel chapter 9 verse 25. We dealt with. We know that they brainwashed us with the fact that they say that's the Messiah. Prophecy of the Messiah Jesus when he was coming, but it's not because when you find out where that wall is at in that same verse, then you come to understand that wherever that wall is at and whatever timeline is in, the Messiah is there also. And we found out that Nehemiah came back. Nehemiah was the one. Nehemiah, the book of Nehemiah goes behind the book of Daniel. Daniel prophesied about them coming out of Babylon and coming back and rebuilding Jerusalem, and the children coming back and the men, and they going to repair the wall. And the Messiah came back with them, which was Zerubbabel. So, like I said, you just mentioned it. There's so many lies out there, and once you start uncovering these lies, it's discouraging to some people. But like I said, you got to press forward, keep on going because of if you at that point where he's opening your eyes up, he just told us he ain't gonna leave you. He's gonna stay there
Mhm.
with you, bring you all the way through all of it.
Yeah.
So you gotta stand fast, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then for our Tuesday night class, for the Israelite class on Tuesday, we dealt with David and Solomon and the Levites, how they rolled in Israel is, and how that the Israelites have it's a man from each tribe, one man from each tribe, and he governs 24,000 people to run the temple every month. You got 12 men, one from each tribe, and they have their own month. Each tribe has its own month that they go into the temple, and they conduct
Mm.
all the goings on in the temple for that month, along with the Levites. And then we dealt with reading through the Tanakh. We dealt with the book, that book of life, and how it was. We went to I can't remember what it was. We went to let me see that book, Barak, the book of Barak, in the pseudepigrapha, and it was telling you, it expounded on the fact that what Gabriel told Daniel in chapter 10 about him and Michael was the only ones looking on his book of life in heaven. That's how they're able to come down and tell the prophets, prophesy to them, because they're looking on his book. And some examples was when Michael came to Abraham in Genesis 18 and told him, "You're gonna have a son this time next year." Then he told him what to name him. And then we went to First Chronicles, where the angel came and told David that Solomon, he was gonna have Solomon, told him what to name him and why he named him Solomon, and that he was gonna be the one to build a temple.
Mm.
So when you go to Second Barak, you go to the Book of Barak, it expounds, and when he was taken, when Isaiah was taken up, he was shown all these books, and he saw all that, and so they just allude to it in Daniel, just like with Enoch. As profound as Enoch is in his book, they only got three little verses in Genesis about Enoch, and and then Enoch was the son of man, so they had to downplay Enoch, and then they put that title on JC when the whole time Enoch is that son of man, and Enoch was shown everything that's going to happen to his people from the all the way to the end. Was no need. Was no need to have no son hid in the bush, because Enoch fulfilled all that, and they don't want you to know that. That's why they downplayed the book of Enoch. Okay, so those are things that we went over during the week, and they are all on our channels. If you want to go and check them out, you got them. You got Prophets of Awakening channel. You got Wake Up Israel. Israel Wake Up channel, and then you have non-Messianic conversations. So you can go there and you can find those videos, and you can check them out. I think they're informative. So with that being said, we're gonna do this with I said Jacob wrestled with an angel, and I got some revelations on that, so I want to shine a light on that before we close out. Okay, so when you understand that story, let me read it. It's in Genesis 32, starting at verse 24. Let me read that, then I go into my topic, what I'm talking about. So it's Genesis 32, and it says that this is when Jacob wrestled with the angel. So it says 24, Genesis 32, verse 24, and Jacob was left alone, right? Jacob was left alone, and there he wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaketh." The angel said this, "Let me go, for the day breaketh." And he said, "I will not let thee go, except thou bless me." And he said unto him, "What is thy name?" And he said, "Jacob," right? And he said, "Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed." And Jacob asked him and said, "Tell me, I pray thee, thy name." And he said, "Wherefore is it that thou doest ask after my name?" And he blessed him there, right? And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is prevailed. So, like I was telling you before, this is just a side note, an extra nugget. He's right here in verse 30. We know this an angel, right? Because it's three men came to Abraham. We know the angels. And right here, Jacob wrestling with a man. There's no way in hell he wrestling with Yahweh. He's a consuming fire. You burn him up. So we know this an angel, right? So let's look at verse 30. I'm gonna keep on stressing this, right? So that it'll sink into your head. Verse 30. Jacob called the name of the place Penal. Now look at this. For I have seen God. See that? Capital G. That ain't God that they gave us. It's an angel you wrestle with. It ain't God. See that? And that's what they do all through the scriptures. I keep on putting emphasis on that. You gotta let that register. So anyway, that's why you got so many nut buckets when you come in with them with these troops now in these last days. They can't handle it. Like I was talking to a brother when it says right there, you know, he acts as if it's some kind of trick. When you read the scripture in Genesis 18, it says 3 men came. So it's angels. We know they 3 angels. And so then now you want to say one of them is Yahweh and 2 of them is angels. No, it's all 3 of them angels. Nowhere in there do we say no, it's Yahweh with them. We know that the angel, we made in the angel's image. That's why they said, let us go down and make man in our image in 126. So it's not God. God ain't with them. It's 3 angels. And right here, there's an angel. And then they come back and trick you off, which actually now with us waking up with the Most High pouring the Spirit out on us, they looking like fools because, like I said in verse 30, Jacob called the name of the place Penal, for I have seen God. He dealing with an angel.
And that angel is Michael.
Right. So now this is where the trick come in. This is where the revelation come in there. So that word, he changed his name. The Lord of hosts, Michael, wrestling with Jacob. His name Jacob. So the angel, Michael, changed his name to Israel. So why he change his name? So that means that Israel means he who struggles with God. So he's struggling with the angel. He's struggling with the angel. And when you go back to all the big blockbuster movies that made on the 10 Commandments, they're gonna tell you right in the movie. They're gonna make a point to tell you what that means. They're gonna tell you that what Israel means. He struggled with God. So you say, what are you talking about? If you go to 27, Genesis 32 and 27, it says, he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob, right? Michael asked him, what's your name? He said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, right? But Israel. Why? For as a prince hast thou power with God and with me, and thou hast prevailed. See that? So same thing. He struggled, wrestling with this. He wrestled with the God of Israel, which is Michael. He wrestled with him. That's what that means. So notice, let's go back to 24, because it's big. So when you go back to Genesis 32, verse 24, Jacob was left alone. See that? Jacob was left alone. There he wrestled with a man, we know, with the angel, until the breaking of day. And then, I mean, even just, we already know it's an angel, but 25. And when the Lord host saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. They go to understanding right there, the meaning of Israel. And he said, let me go for the day breaking. So Yahweh ain't got to go nowhere before the day break, but those angels do. Right? See that? So there goes another confirmation. But anyway, it says that Jacob was left alone. So we know now in 2024, they didn't gave us another God. Man, we ain't been dealing with our God. So what happens? Each and every person, he says that, let's go and read this. Well, I'm gonna read it after I say this. So everybody, once he started dealing with you and you start to find out that you've been lied to. And very few people get to the point where they don't never give up. They don't have the capacity to give up JC. But the ones that do, once you did it, your family members, your pastor, the people at your church, your co-workers, all of them, where you find yourself? Alone.
Yeah.
Left alone. You left alone. Then what? Now you fulfilling that same role that Jacob did. You got to wrestle. Just like he did. You left alone and wrestle to get to your God, back to him. So we're going through the same thing. So you say, what are you talking about? I read this verse over and over and over again. Let me go there. And you see, Isaiah, 44.
Isaiah.
44. 1 through 5. And like I said before, it's crazy how all this thing, everything line up. Isaiah 44, 1 through 5 says, yet here is the Lord of hosts, O Jacob, right? So we know now why he's saying Jacob, because he wrestled with him. O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus says the Lord, the Lord of hosts, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. See that? Help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jezreel, whom I have chosen, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon dry ground, and I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessings upon thine offspring, and they shall spring up as among the grass. That's what I'm talking about. You find you left alone. They will spring up as water by or among the grass, as willows by a water course. And when you understand that, those willows come up one at a time. They start popping up along the bank of the river, one at a time, right? 5. One shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself Israel. See that? Takes you right back to Genesis 32 when he wrestled with the angel. So each and every one of us now, after our lives, we find ourselves alone, and we have to struggle with the understanding and the same way that Jacob did. So it's like a double whammy. Israel, you got to be renamed Israel all over again.
I
Okay.
was, yeah, I was talking to someone the other day, and it's just interesting how these, not these people, but people are coming to us, and with us who are seeking and finding the truth. Just out of the blue, she was telling me that she had went to this place called the Hebrew Israelites in Christ. So at first I was excited when she said the first part. Then she said in Christ, and I asked her, what did that mean to her? Because I mean, she went there for the first time, and she was all excited. Everything lined up except for the part about Jesus. And I said, so I told her, I said, go back when you go back, ask a question. How does Jesus fit into the Old Testament?
Right.
And she said she so we were talking, and I was just like, everything they're saying sounds so good, but like I said, they tell us it's like they're in it, all of a sudden they see something changing, and then now it's just a flood of lies coming in every different direction to either strengthen up the lie they told or to change something else, so that those who are pulling themselves out of the lies, they get tied down with something else. So now all of a sudden you're a Hebrew Israelite, but yet you're still tied to Jesus. I
Right.
was
You
like,
still tied
oh,
to the
okay.
same thing. Right. Exactly. Like I was saying before, with Santa Claus. Santa
Mm,
Claus is Woden. Woden is a Northman god, a white man from the
mm,
north.
mm-hmm.
So you can't turn him, you can't make him black and put him in a black shopping center on the 25th of December for the little
Right.
black kid to sit on his lap. He a white man. He from the
Mhm.
north. That's who he originally is. So you just all you doing is just making him black. So
Right.
so I heard of a group of people talking. They got me boxed out the channel. I can't talk no more. I can't come on the channel. So they on there talking about they can't believe how people is still dealing with Jesus. But they saying they dealing with Yahushua. Oh, you done did the same thing. They keep saying
Substituted one
it's
for
a totally
another.
different God. Yeah, Jesus is a different God than Yahushua. No, all you done did was made him black. He a white
Just
man. They made him when they became powerful and we failed. They became our oppressors over us, They made him. Off of looking at our scriptures, they made him white. That's how he is white. They made him, they didn't take a black man and make him white. When they created him, they made a white God. So you can't come behind them and then turn say Yahweh and make him black. No, when they created him, they created a white God.
Yeah. And they not the same. The characteristics, they say you know one from another because of their characteristics and the fruit they bear. One
Exactly.
bears one fruit, the other bears another. They're not the same.
Right. So I'm gonna read this here and then we're gonna close out. So the Lord of hosts keep telling us, well, let me read that first, then I'll read this other one, then we'll close. So I go here all the time, right? Judges. So he says, just for the people that don't know no better, Judges chapter 2, it says in verse 1, and the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Beckham and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt. The angel saying this, I made you to go up out of Egypt. I have brought you to the land. I have brought you unto this land which I swore unto your father. So telling you right here, I'm the one who was talking to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not Jesus, not Yahweh. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. So this angel right here, like we just saw who Jacob was wrestling with, he's the one that got the covenant with Israel, right? So it ain't Yahweh. No matter if you make him white or black, it ain't none of him. So now, with that understanding, let's go to Deuteronomy right quick and read the covenant. He just told you, I'm the one. When y'all was at Mount Sinai, it was me. You made the covenant with, right? So Deuteronomy, okay. Let me get it. Deuteronomy 29, 10 through 15. Deuteronomy 29. This is when they made the covenant with you. So you got to let this sink in. So verse 10, the Lord's covenant with Israel. We just saw the angel just told you it's him that made the covenant. So let's start reading. 29:10. Ye stand this day, all of you, before the Lord, Judges chapter 2. The Lord your God, your captains of your tribes, your elders, your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and thy strangers that are in thy camp, from the hewer of wood unto the drawer of water, that thou shouldest enter into a covenant. See that? So now you see the importance of understanding who it is you made the covenant with, understand who it is that Jacob wrestled with, right? Then it says that he may establish, 12, thou shouldst enter into a covenant with the Lord thy God and into his oath, which the Lord thy God maketh with thee this day, that he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee a God. They go to God again, capital G. See that? As he have said unto thee, and as he have sworn unto thy fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, neither with you only do I make this covenant with this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before the Lord our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day. See that? So who we talking about that's not there? Us. So this is the God right here. That's why it's important to understand who the God is that we made the covenant with. It don't have nothing to do with the New Testament. Okay? It just told you right here, he's the angel of the Lord just showed you, I'm the one that made the covenant. This who was at Mount Sinai. This who they made the covenant with.
Right. And
See
he
that?
said, I make my covenant with you forever. And then
Yeah.
it's so
Right.
forever they'll mean until the New Testament come on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So ain't nothing. You already off when you start. Like I said, you can't go to Matthew and then talk about a baby was born in a mama womb. No, we don't. That ain't where the story started. You can't jump the story there because when you get to that, it don't add up to nothing that's going on in the Old Testament. It's crazy. Yeah. So you got any last minute comments or anything before we slide out of here?
Nope. Good class
You
as
good?
always. Yep, I'm good.
Okay. Okay. So with that being said, like I said, we here on every Sunday 5 for anybody that come across this and want to engage. Okay, so I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I'll see everybody next week.
Shalom.
Shalom.